Hi, I'm going to walk you through the steps that I'm going to take to transition a top navigation guide to a side navigation guide. So I'm on the project page, and what we're doing is, in order to make our guides more accessible and so that they display better on phones and other devices, is we're switching from top navigation to side navigation, and we're moving to having just one column. So we're focusing on course guides, and we're starting with guides that faculty have said they're using either this summer or in the fall. And what we have to do is make a new guide and then copy over some of the boxes from the old guide. And our goal there is to simplify our new guides, get rid of clip art and things like that are a little dated, and to later we'll run accessibility testing on all of these guides again. So I've created a template to help you understand what to keep and what to get rid of, but really you're going to use your best judgment because these are course guides, and so they really should support whatever assignment the faculty member had given. So let me show you how to do it. So the first thing I'm going to do is go to the course guides and use spreadsheet, and then I'm going to pick a course guide, right? So I'm going to skip down here to Nye's guide. And when I click here to get the URL, I can see that this is actually, there's two different guides that she wants changed, right? So I'll put my name over here, and I'm going to put my name, and then I'll put the course that I'm working on, just in case I don't get to the next course, right? So it's the HED 202, and so I'm going to copy that URL, and it's up here, right? And I can look at the guide here, see the different sections, and I can already identify some boxes that I'm going to get rid of. So how to use this research guide, that's where a librarian put a video, but that video is no longer available, so I won't bring that box over. And then when you look at the template, you'll see that things like what do you know, quick tips, this stuff we're not bringing over. But the thesis statement, this kind of stuff. But these other things we will bring over. And it'll be up to you to decide what order you want them to appear on the screen. So I'm looking at my guide, and I think that I'll be able to find it again easily. But what you might decide that you want to do is rename the guide. So if you don't have admin privileges, when you select your guide, you'll want to email one of the librarians that's a full-timer, or Lauren or Marco, and ask them to give you editing privileges on this guide. I really want you to edit these guides using your own login, not the librarian, because that way I'll be able to see if there's a misunderstanding of my bad directions. I can help you fix whatever happened if it's not the way that we wanted it to be. So if I think I'm going to be able to find this guide again, but just to be sure, I'll go ahead and I'll log in so I can rename it. And I've just been doing HED 102. So I've just been putting an A in front of the ones that I'm redoing. Okay. The next thing you want to do is you want to create the new guide, and you want to use the template that I made for course guides. So to do that, we're going to log into libguides and click on the content menu, do guides, create guide. And I'm not starting fresh, I'm copying from an existing guide, and it's called template course guide. So I'm going to click here. And now you're going to put the name of the guide. And so what we're trying to do is we're just recreating this guide in a side navigation format. So I'm just going to copy the name of the old guide and give it to my new guide. Oops. And then I want to make sure that I select course guide because that's the type of guide that this is, and I'll create my guide. Okay, so now I'm in the template. And so inside the center box, it's giving information about how to name a guide, how to select the subject for the guide, how to tag it and things like that. And so we really want to make sure that we do that. So we can go back to the original guide and kind of see it was tagged sports and fitness, but really it should be tagged whatever this discipline is. So you could retag it sports and fitness, and then we'll know later that we need to make sure that there is a tag for HED, which I think is health education. So we'll see. Okay, so I'm in my new guide. So the first thing I'm going to do is look for subjects, and I'm just going to see if there's a health education. Nah, there is not. So I'm going to tag it sports and fitness like the old one was. But I can go back, I can come over here and it says there's this place where it's like this guide needs help. And I can put down needs. Needed. And I can put the URL for this guide because this is going to be the URL on my new guide as well. So I've got sports and fitness. Now I need to tag it with the course number and the instructor. And if you were making this for the class, you could add the last semester that it was used that you know of. But if we don't have that, that's fine. So that's how to name and categorize this guide. Once we're done with everything and we delete the old guide, we'll change the URL. And then we're looking at the instructions for this page. So it's telling us what to copy. Only copy boxes that include welcome videos or information about the instructor's assignment, because this is your assignment. So if I go back to this guide, there was no your assignment tab. It's starting at understand your topic. So I know that I can get rid of this page right here. I can delete it from this guide. I don't need it. It's not in the original guide. So instead, I'm starting at getting started, which is the same as understand your topic. And you might decide you want to use understand your topic instead. That's fine. I like getting started, so I'm going to take it. I'm not going to copy. I'm not going to bring this box over, but I am going to bring this box and this box right here. Let's start. We'll do the easy one. We'll start at the beginning. So this one is part of reusable content. And so when we want to bring it over, I'm going to come over here, add a box, reuse existing box from reusable content. All right. And then I'm going to find the box that I want. So it's and because that's reusable content, I could just bring it over that way. The next thing that I want to bring over is this one right here, selected library resources online. And this isn't reusable content. I want to make sure I make a copy of this one because we're going to delete this guide. So I'll come over here, I'll add another box, and then I'll look for this guide. There we go. I put my A down, I have the HED, and now I can pick which box I'm bringing over. So I think it's selected library resources online, and I want to make sure that I create a copy of the box. I can go back and check this. And it only has the online resources because I think this is an online class. So it's up to you. You could decide you want to bring the print books over. You could decide you want to combine the two together. I'm just going to leave it like this. And now I'm going to bring these videos over. So I'll go back to the new guide. It's right there. So it's on the understand. You get a copy of the box. Okay, there's that. I'm going to bring my next book over. And then I'm going to go back over here and see if there's anything else on this page that I want to bring over. And I've decided that I don't. So at this point, I feel like I'm done. I can delete this box with the instructions. And, you know, I can decide how I want the videos to go. Like sometimes I like to put my videos at the top. You might decide that you want to add a subpage for your videos. Like, you know, I could create a subpage of getting started, you know, and add videos there. However you want to do it, it's fine, because if the next librarian doesn't like it, they're going to rearrange it. But I usually put my videos at the top, but I might put them in a different way. I'll see how this works. But yeah, so that's how I'm going to do this one. So I'm going to go ahead and do my other boxes, and I will pop back in when I get to things that are tricky, because otherwise it's going to be very boring. Okay, see you in a little bit. So I'm on the Find Books tab, and when I look at that tab on the old guide, I can see that there's some information that I would want to bring over, but other information that I don't want to bring. So if I look here, it's saying that I should bring over things that are unique to the class, that include subject headings, but just general information about how to browse Library of Congress, I shouldn't bring over. So when I look at the old guide, I can see that there's some things here with subjects that are great. I think that I understand that this is an online class, and it's telling students how to look for an ebook, how to limit for that, so that looks good. So this up here looks really useful. There's a link to the library catalog, and then there's some ebooks down here, which may be out of date, maybe not, but I think it's okay. We could bring it over. This one had already been turned off, so I'm not going to bring that over. And the stuff like, you know, wonder how a book is shelved, I'm not going to bring that over. This video about how to look for ebooks in the catalog is probably useful, and so I could put it at the end, at the bottom, or in between these two boxes. Either way, that might be good. And so what I'll do now is I'll go back to the new guide, and I'll do that same process where I copy from the old guide to bring that information over. I'll come back to you again when I get to Find Articles. Before I leave the books page, there's a couple of things. One, I brought over this box, Finding Books on My Topic. It's labeled books. I might decide I want to relabel, you know, this box to be Finding Books on Your Topic, right? And then I could get rid of it there. So I'm going to go ahead and edit. Here, I'm going to get rid of the clip art. If you wanted to keep it, you would need to give it alt text. And then I'm just going to get rid of this bold right here. Yeah. And if your fonts look funny, you can select everything and change the size to something random, and then change the size to default. And they should all be everything should be the same size. And that will be helpful. I had talked about how I wanted to bring this over, and so when I was trying to copy things, this didn't show up because this is like reusable content. And it's coming from a guide called Banned Books. And so in order to copy it, I will need to go to that guide to do it. So that is what I will do now. Let's see. And I can decide, you know, if I want to keep that down at the bottom, or if I want to move it into the middle. And I feel like I'm done with this. So I can. When I go to Find Articles, it's telling me some information about what to bring over. And when I come over here and I look at Find Articles, there are a few things that I have to decide about. So this right here, Health of the Underserved News, like these RSS feeds, we're not bringing over with us. The stuff about which one do I use, what is a database, we're not bringing that over, either primary, secondary, unless the assignment the professor has calls for some of that, in which case I would create a sub tab, and I'll show you guys how to do that, because based on what's in this box, it looks to me like the professor is giving extra credit if you write an article review on a scholarly or peer-reviewed article. So I'm going to bring over this box and this right here, and then I'm going to create a sub box in Find Articles for scholarly articles. And I can put in this box here and this stuff here to show it to them so they can get everything that their professor wants. So when I get to the creating the sub box, I'll pop back over for you guys. You can see that part, but I think you know the rest. All right. So this is my new guide with the Finding Articles page. I have the introduction up here, which was some reusable content. I have the databases recommended for this project. And when I go back to the old guide, I see that there's, an assignment about finding scholarly articles in EBSCO that includes a link to a video, and then some information on the difference between scholarly and popular that's probably useful for this assignment. So what I want to do is create a subpage for Find Articles that has that. So I'm going to create a subpage of Find Articles, and I'll just call it Find Scholarly Articles. So I'm on that page now. I want to add, the boxes from my old guide. Find scholarly articles in EBSCO. I'm going to make sure I make that a copy. The information about scholarly and popular and all that stuff is from the reusable guide, so I'm just checking what it is, what it's called, so I can find it. And I'm not making a copy of that because if we edit it later, because we're going to need to go through and accessibility check these little the covers to make sure that they have alt text and that all of this is working in terms of being using the right kind of. When we fix it on the reusable content, it should fix it everywhere else. All right, now I'll come back to you when I get further along. So now we're on the Find Websites page. I'm looking at the old guide, and I'm only going to bring over this central box. I'm not going to bring over these things on the side. I'm not going to bring the stuff over on the bottom because we're trying to move away from the CRAP test to use SIFT or other lateral reading techniques. I'm going to bring this over, but once I get it over, I'll show you how we're going to edit it. We're going to get rid of the clip art. We're going to stop calling it surfing the web, because that's a little bit of a dated term. And I think it's probably good if we're a little less judgy about the information that they're finding online and be more neutral, but it's up to you. I'm going to change this language here too, but you do you. Anyway, so I'm just going to go, I'll go over to the new guide and move it, and then I'll show you how I edit the box after I've moved it. So I have moved this box over, and now I would like to edit it. So like I said before, I'm going to get rid of the clip art. I'm going to get rid of surfing the web. And I'm just going to put, I'm just very neutral. But I mean, you have to be true to yourself. So you should write something that reflects what you feel about these internet sites, right? And you could decide you're going to change the title to be something like, internet sites for health information or statistics or something like that, or you can just leave it plain like that. All right, we're almost over. Evaluate your sources. We're almost done. So the old guide doesn't have an evaluate your sources tab, but it did have stuff about evaluating your sources on the website page. So there's a couple things you could do. You could add this, information from this guide on the Find Websites page, or you could do what the directions are saying and you can just redirect to this page. which is what I'm going to do. And then the last one, cite your sources. Here is citing source work cited. If you, just like before, if you know the citation style, not before, you didn't hear that, it was an old video. If you know the citation style that your courses wants their students to use, then you will link directly to that page on the redirect. Otherwise, you can just link to the overview of the citation help page, but we want to make sure we're linking to this page right here because this is the only one that we're going to be using. The other one is going to get turned off. So make sure that if you don't know the citation style, so if you don't know if that class uses MLA, in which case you would link to this page, or APA, you would link to this page. If you're not sure, then you can link to this right here. And that is the, you would get it off of this right here. So I'm just going to copy this link and then I'm going to redirect to this page. Open it. And now I'm going to check my guide over before I delete the old guide. So I'm just going to go through and make sure that I've made copies of everything that was unique to the guide. If something has this, it means I've reused it. I want to make sure it's going to reusable content, not to the old guide. Check that on every page. All right. And so at this point, I am now ready to delete the old guide. So remember that you have the URL for the old guide on this document, right? So you can always find it again. If you don't have admin privileges, you're not going to be able to delete the old guide. Or editing privileges. You just need to be the editor of the guide, is my understanding. And so to delete the guide, what I need to do is go back into the content area of libguides, and I can look for it right here, and I'm going to delete it. Now I can go to my new guide and I want to put the old URL, the same URL that was used before on it. And now the professor won't have to change any of her links, but her students will get to this new guide. That should look really good on their phone or things like that. Hopefully this video, here, let me come over here so you can enjoy the beauty of this guiding. So hopefully this video was helpful. Or oops, I left my internal notes, so I have to remember to go and fix that and get rid of that. But yeah, be better than me. Anyway, I hope this video helps. If you have questions, you can ask me. And really, if you get stuck while you're working on it, really, you can stop if you feel frustrated and just put the link for the guide that is causing you problem in this thing right here where it says this guide needs help. Oh, and the last thing, do not forget to publish your new guide. Okay. All right. Bye.